Yeah, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Extra Time TV. This is Andres Sooklal, and I'm joined by someone all the way in Qatar, James Baird. James, how are you?
I am excellent. A little late here at night, but raring to go and talk about the games for tomorrow.
Yes. Haters will say this is fake. But, we're going to head straight into it, folks. James and I will be back at Smokey and Bunty's tomorrow. He'll take his private jet back to the bar and we'll have, reactions to the games immediately afterwards, both games, and we'll have them up as fast as we can. We may do a watch along, I don't know, but be sure to come down, hang with us. You could get some prizes and, lots of giveaways. And, James, could you mention the quick one about Adventure Travel? They love hearing about that one.
Yeah, well, we have, speaking about flights, me coming back tomorrow, we have that wonderful trip for two to Tobago, flights to Tobago for two lucky guests who come down and obviously join us on the 18th for the finals. So everybody that comes down will go into a prize draw and we will draw them out on the 18th. So it's a great prize. As I say, we always say, I want it and you want it, but there's a whole host of people want it now. So be sure to come down and support us and get the chance to win that, along with lots of other things too.
Yes. So, we're going to head straight into the games. We have two games tomorrow, depending on when this goes online. So we have Croatia takes on Brazil, Argentina takes on Netherlands. So, James, we'll start off with the first one. Croatia take on Brazil. We usually have a pretty set format that we go with these shows. So we're going to start things off. Croatia, World Cup finalists the last time around. They got in. A lot of people didn't really give them much of a chance, James. But, heading into this game, we'll start with Croatia. What do you think about Croatia's chances?
Well, this is a team that people fail to remember that got to the final, obviously, in the last World Cup. Whereas obviously Brazil probably has a better form leading into it. They have a very experienced team, and I think they've shown that throughout the competition. Their coach, he's got them this far, and they'll be thinking they can put on a good show against Brazil and really take it to the Brazilian. And this is a Brazilian team that promises so much, but we will see what they come up with. We know Neymar, for example, had that little injury. It was lingering over the team, but both teams have very good players, have very good systems, and it's going to be a cracking game.
Yes. So, usually we talk about, possible injuries and so on. You mentioned Neymar is going to be back. However, Croatia folks, they came through on penalties. And also, Brazil got that, storming statement of a victory. Do you think this will be the first real test for Brazil? And the reason why I asked that, Brazil has Thiago Silva, Marquinhos, Dani Alves, and those guys at the back. Do you think that, Perisic, Modric, Brozovic, and these guys, Kovacic, and so on, will be the first real test for Brazil?
I think so, because one thing I noticed with this Croatian team, they play a 4-3-3, but in attack and transition, they're absolutely fantastic. Everybody thinks of them as having an aging team with, for example, Modric, etc. But they attack so well, so intricately, and we've seen that in previous games. Obviously, the last game went to penalties, and Livakovic had obviously 3 big saves. So even all the way down to the wire, they can come up with something big. And I think that's something that the coaches, he obviously there was an injury, I think, in the last game to Borna Sosa. Borna Barisic came in, obviously the Rangers player, had a decent game, first game for the tournament. So they're raring to go. They'll be raring to take the game to Brazil. And as I say, they have guys like Kramaric up top, who's been very good in the tournament. As you mentioned, Kovacic in there. Lovren has been fantastic at the back. Modric, obviously. Although he came off in the last game, I think he had just ran out of steam. These are guys that can win the game for them. And they'll be hoping they can pull off, in a sense, an upset, because I would say, if you look at the stats or what the bookies would say, they'd probably say Brazil are the favourites. But this Croatia team won't fear MD, and they'll be thinking they can get the job done.
Yep. And, Brazil, obviously, they have a very strong attacking group of players. I mean, Gabriel Jesus will be out because of a knee injury and so on. But you have Neymar, and you have Paqueta, and you have a team that looks like they're in form. Casemiro in the middle will have a bit of a challenge facing that midfield trio from Croatia for the first time, I guess. A lot of people are already saying Brazil are the favorites to go all the way. Do you think that the Brazilian offense will be enough to take some pressure away from, the deficiencies at the back? Because to be true, just to build on what we were saying before, the teams that Brazil played, they were really strong on offense. And even Kevin made a statement that, Brazil usually attack and not afraid to win a game 6-3 or 5-2. Do you think that the Croatian defense will be able to handle that offense and maybe catch them on the counter?
Well, I think it'll be a very pensive game. So, for example, I mean, we know how Croatia play. They'll be very resolute at the back. They'll be organised. I mean, this Brazilian team, when you read some of the names, as I say, I mean, Paqueta, Neymar, Rafinha, Richarlison, Vinicius Jr., they have some real flair there. Some players who can obviously dazzle us with their skills, with their pace. But I think, as I say, the Croatian team, as I say, Lovren has been fantastic. Guardiola has been very good at the back. So to me, it's going to be pace against, that organisation. And I think it's going to be an absolute epic game. I can't definitively say that Brazil's going to walk over them because I don't think so. I think this game could go down to the wire, even maybe be another game creeping into extra time and maybe even penalties. But I know the Brazilian fans will be thinking, we have this one, it's in the bag, and they'll be looking on into the semi-finals. I don't think it will be. I mean, even although, yes, they have guys like Martinelli, Anthony, on the bench, this game is going to be a very, very tight affair. And as I say, it's going to be an absolute cracker.
Yes, and the last game, of course, you spoke about Croatia's formation. Brazil used the 4-2-3-1, Alisson in goal, and, you have Militao and these guys at the back. Do you think there'll be any changes tactically, or Brazil are just going to go with the same formation?
One of the things that I noticed with Brazil is, I mean, if I was an opposition coach coming in to play Brazil, they have a huge weakness with their fullbacks. I mean, I think Militao and Danilo, to me, they're not necessarily natural fullbacks, and they get caught a lot of the time inside too much. And obviously, the way that this Croatia team, they attack, as I say, or in transition, they attack well, but they do it in a pinpointed way, so they know exactly how to home in on weaknesses. And I think that's something their coach will be working on. He'll be saying, well, these are the two kind of weak areas that Brazil have. And I have to say, some of the big teams in the tournament seem to have that weakness, with their fullbacks. So it's something that, it's not unusual, but I think that's an area that the Croatian coach will be looking to exploit. And it's up to these players, obviously, to step up and show that, they aren't the weakness. But we will see, as I say, it's set up to be a fantastic game. And obviously, the injury to Alexandro is obviously why, a lot of these problems are there as well. So it's going to be a great game. I think it's not going to be as easy as everybody thinks. And as I say, it's going to be an absolute cracker.
Yep. So obviously, we're going to take a look at key players of both games. A lot of people are already, giving Brazil the victory. We'll have a poll also on our YouTube page and on Twitter, folks. So feel free to vote and let us know who you think is going to win in both games. We'll get to the other game just now. But a lot of people, James, have already given Brazil the win. So obviously, it's going to be difficult to really predict games at this stage of the tournament. This is where it gets tricky. You could come in with really great form and then fall over. We've seen it before. For example, in the last World Cup, Brazil looked pretty okay. Sorry, in 2014, Brazil were kind of cruising and then Germany just smacked them to pieces. Do you think, before we do our verdicts, who do you think is the key player for Brazil?
When you say cruising, I think we could say cruising for a bruising, because I think it'll be a very physical encounter for the Brazilian team. But I think the key players, for example, for Croatia will be Livakovic, the goalkeeper, being fantastic, Lovren at the back as well. And then obviously we can't look any further than Luka Modric, And as I say, if I want to add one to it, would be Kramaric up top, because he's obviously scored a few goals. He's looked solid. On the opposite side to Brazil, I think it'll be a busy day for Alisson again, because in the last game he pulled off 5 big saves, even although obviously Brazil won comfortably. But I think they'll be looking to Neymar. Richarlison has came under, there's a lot of critics out there that don't like him because maybe it's because he's playing for Tottenham. Maybe they don't feel he's a big enough striker, but he's scored some goals. But I think the other key man will be Vinicius Jr. And obviously Casemiro holds them together in the midfield, just kind of like how Modric does as well. So there's quite a few key players, but at the end of the day, if it means somebody has to come off the bench to win the game, the coaches will and the fans will settle for that too.
Yes, so obviously according to the Google predictions and probabilities, Croatia has an 11% chance of winning. Brazil's 71% chance, and there's a small percentage of 18 that thinks that Brazil will win in extra time. So, James, final verdict, who do you think goes through?
Very, very hard one. I'm going to say 2-1 Brazil.
Yep, I agree. I think it's going to be, I think Croatia is going to give it a good fight, but I think in the end, Brazil will edge them in the end. I don't think it's going to be a wide victory like a lot of people are saying. So I agree. Folks, you can let us know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think Croatia is going to upset, depending on who you ask, because some people are not seeing it as an upset if Croatia beats them. They have been performing well. Croatia is one of those teams that always seems to bounce back, and even though like they concede goals or the game is not going how they would like, they managed to grind out those results. They did it the last time around, not so much in the Euros, but they have a lot of character and they have a lot of strong players. So will the Brazilian offense be able to handle Modric, Brozovic, Modric, and these guys who are very good, Perisic on the wing, and would they exploit what some people argued was an aging backline for Croatia with Lovren and so on, but they've been able to. Lovren has been great, James, I'm sure you agree. But will this be the last line for Croatia? Will Brazil's wonderful form come to a run, I don't know, an abrupt halt? So folks, let us know what you think in the comment section below. So James, as we always do, we're going to move along and hear a message from the kind folks of the people of Biotech.
Biotech Plus is internationally certified for all clinical disinfection and sterilisation, all infectious disease control and surgical instruments.
Yeah.